Hi there, and welcome to week 6 of our online English 104 class. I hope you're sort of enjoying this rainy weather. I have to admit I'm one of those people who look forward to a little bit of this once in a while. And although I understand the sun's supposed to come out in time for us to have our school and work week, so maybe by tomorrow we'll have the sunshine again. I want to talk a little bit. I'll go as usual. I will look back to last week and make a few comments, and then I'm going to review this coming week. And the first thing I wanted to talk about was the conferences that happened last week, and I enjoyed getting a chance to meet with all of you, either in my office or virtually, and some of you through Google Docs. And even though we didn't actually meet face-to-face or camera-to-camera, as it might be, on Google Docs, I still get to know a little bit more about you by reading your progress reports and your work, of course. So I really enjoyed that, and I look forward to future conferences. A few of you did sign up for some revision or makeup conferences for this week and next week, and I look forward to seeing you again as well. One of the questions that came up quite frequently in conferences was the question of when are the papers due? Okay, and the answer to this is that they're really not, as far as there's not a time right now where you've just finished this one and you're going to turn it into me and get additional feedback. The assignments that you have for the essays the deadlines are really what sort of you're being scored on for the essays earlier in the semester. So your topic proposal, your 2 response groups, your conference with me. All of those things contribute to your grade because you get scores for those things, as well as to your improvement in those essays. And that's really the focus of the class. We're going to be doing a portfolio at the end of the semester, and you'll be choosing between your essays and sometimes your analytical responses, some of the other writing that you do for this class. You'll be putting together a collection of your best work. And it's at that time that you will really be finalizing your best essays and submitting them to the portfolio. At that time, they'll actually be scored and graded on the product that you've created. Okay, so during the semester, you're getting credit for the process you're going through revising, through meeting with me, sharing with your groups, and all of those things, and then you'll get graded just on the best of your work when you submit it to portfolio. So hopefully that clarifies things for you. If you have questions about that, though, still let me know, please. I enjoyed the Writer's Toolbox activity last week. A lot of people also commented in their conferences with me that they had thought that they used a lot of connecting strategies like transitions and keywords and repetition, but they actually realized that when they went back to look at the paragraphs that they had included for the activity, that they were lacking in those things. So this is a good revision activity to help yourself with once your essay gets further along, to revisit this and sort of work on providing the reader with those cues for moving through your paper. The other things from last week, we had the assignment amnesty that concluded on Friday, so some folks did make up some work. And I have actually entered all of the updated grades, the people who emailed me to let me know that they had made up work. I got a chance to look at all of those and have updated the grade book accordingly, except for 1 or 2 people who did some of the begin your research. I'm waiting to hear back from the librarian as far as your scores on that. Okay, so that's still in the works. But on the whole, I was happy to see people take advantage of that opportunity to make up work. In the future, I don't accept any late work. I don't allow makeup work. And so this was sort of your one-time shot. So I appreciate the effort that you put into doing that. We also, last week, as I mentioned, we concluded the pop culture unit, and that included a research collection self-assessment. And I will be getting those grades added to the gradebook today, as well as your grades for your essay 1 revision response group. Okay, so that's on my agenda to get that done today. The other thing that you did last week that won't be reflected yet in your gradebook for a couple days is the post survey for Begin Your Research. Again, I'll be waiting on the librarian to score those there's fill in the blank questions, right? There's a few multiple choice, but then there's others that she scores. And once that's done, I'll get that into the grade book too. Okay, so a little bit of stuff to catch up on today, and then that will get into things later on down the line. So week 6, looks really nice and simple. At the bottom of the page, we've got just 3 things in the assignment box. Okay, we're sort of in this transition stage. There's no sign up for conferences this week, so that doesn't take up a lot of space. We finished begin your research. Okay, so the box itself gets a little bit simpler as we go on for the rest of the semester because we really focus in on the key assignments that you have each week, which are the Writer's Toolbox and either an analytical response or a response group for your essay. Okay. This week, you have one of each of those things. You have a Writer's Toolbox, and this is a reflection week, so you're just going to be posting and sharing with me. And one of the things that I've asked, and this is going to be important for you to do before you actually do the Toolbox reflection, is to make sure that you've done this first couple things of reading, okay, in the preparation section. There's 2 sections. Her point is, and as he puts it, and these are about quoting and paraphrasing in your essays. So using other people's words within the context of your essays and how to do so effectively and smoothly. And it's important that you read that first. I'd also like you to look at these resources on from the Purdue Online Writing Lab, the Purdue OWL, which actually is just sort of reviewing the use of MLA text citations and works cited. And I know you've already finished one paper, but I'd like to sort of cover this after the first paper and before we move into the second, so that people don't get so hung up on the formatting and things like that it prohibits them from getting their work done. So this is going to help you to go back, revise your insertion of your quotes and things and paraphrases in Essay 1 and prepare you for Essay 2. And in this week's reflection, I actually ask you to, after having reviewed those, to talk about your experience with researching and integrating materials and just research in general, plagiarism, issues like that in the past, and also to ask questions that you have about this topic. What I'm going to do with your questions is sort of compile them into an FAQ that I will share with the class next week. Okay, so sort of taking your top concerns, compiling a list of the questions, and then answering them, and then I will post that and share it with you. Okay. So that's the Toolbox reflection, and then we have another analytical response this week. We went through a cycle. We had 2 analytical responses, and then we had 2 weeks of response groups. Now we're headed back into another cycle of analytical responses. And your analytical responses will be related to the reading that you've been doing about food in society. And this response can include reflections on an analysis of last week's writing on that or reading on that topic, as well as they should include this week's. And there are 3 essays. Well, 2 are actually essays, and 1 is actually a speech that Michelle Obama gave to the NAACP about the importance of healthy diets and changing things for our kids. So those are going on. And because of that this week, I've actually included a brief guide to rhetorical analysis. And this is traditionally taught as ethos, pathos, and logos. And there's a little bit different wording and use of alternative terms in here, and you'll find that to be the case. But it also concludes a section on audience, or the sort of the rhetorical situation that you find yourself in as a writer or as a speaker. And so I'd really like you to read this and apply some of those concepts into your analytical response as well. So this week you have a lot of things you can draw from in making your response. Last week's reading, this week's reading, using a rhetorical analysis and any of those things to make connections, as well as your own. I asked you last week to sort of start some food journaling or paying attention to the food habits or the eating habits of people around you, of yourself, and sort of the role that food plays in your life. And that can also be integrated into what you're writing about this week. So there's sort of a lot going on with that. The other thing to consider is that you should be continuing to add resources to the Food and Society research collections. So you wrapped up the pop culture one, you should be into the Food and Society topic, and really it's important that you begin looking at what are potential topics that you're going to be considering for essay number 2. I know it seems quick, but next week you're going to be submitting a topic proposal to me. Okay, so if you want to, you actually can begin emailing me with just some, not the full proposal perhaps, but if you're just really trying to figure out some ideas, a narrow focus, some thoughts that you have on the topic, feel free to drop me a quick email and use me as a sounding board for helping you narrow down your options and what it is that you're looking for. Other than that, that's actually it this week. This might be the shortest video yet. Hooray! But please do let me know how I can help you at any time. And if you look at this week's class, I have a bonus video for you here. Taylor Mawley's The Impotence of Proofreading. I hope you enjoy that, and I hope you have a great week. Bye now.